Yeah, look around the room, see who's swimming with you this morning. In the ocean of devotion, that is. Floating, treading, swimming. Release a mighty blessing for all the beings who are here today and all the beings who are streaming in from around the globe. Look at the being sitting right next to you, left or right, front or back. And look at that being, look at one of those beings and say, oh my God, what God has wrought as you. So much beauty, so much love, so much power. Infinite potential is within you. And your life is just starting anew. We have come to set these blessings free. I said blessings. Bliss. All together now, bliss. We have come to set these blessings free. That we may change the world for the better. While giving our giftedness. I love you. I love you. And I love you. Let's make a difference. And so it is. Hug somebody. Shake somebody's hand. Feel the power and the glow of a community that's in love with the power and the presence and the love of God. Feel the glow of a community that is mature enough to simply love loving. So that after a while you no longer need an object to love. We don't have to objectify ourselves to love. We can just say, I love loving. And in being in that space of loving to love, the universe brings into your orbit that which needs your loving most at that particular time. Sometimes it's right in the mirror. Sometimes it's yourself. Just to embrace yourself from a sweet and divine space and begin to see what God is seeing as your very life and being. Throwing away all of the thoughts that you think other people are thinking about you. Throwing away all the thoughts that you thought about yourself that were underneath the flow of the divine presence. And you begin to wipe that mirror clean so that you can begin to see your pristine nature. That you can begin to see that there is an aspect of you, most of you being invisible, that has never been touched nor tarnished by time, by experience, by perception, projection, positionality, or perspective. That the presence of God, which is omni, everywhere in its fullness, is coming into its own as your very life and being. And as we know that, we begin to hear this theme of the month, which is your prognosis for magnificence. We all know what a prognosis is. We know what a diagnosis is. A diagnosis is the identification of a disease or a problem based on external symptoms. We know that a prognosis is a forecast of likely events based on that particular diagnosis. And we know that there are two levels of diagnosis. There's the human and worldly diagnosis that you were born from a woman, that your color of your skin, where you were born, right side of the tracks, wrong side of the tracks, miseducated, too much education, over-religious, under-religious. There's all kinds of human diagnoses that would form a prognosis of likely events in your life. But then there is a spiritual diagnosis that begins that you are the spiritual image and likeness of God, untouched, untarnished by time or its circumstance. There is a spiritual diagnosis that says every nanosecond is a new beginning of your life in which the infinite gets to escape and express beyond your wildest imagining. And as you come into your spiritual diagnosis on a regular basis, that's every day, that's every hour, that's every moment, that's every time you become conscious that you've been caught into the groundswell of human consciousness and you come back to who and what you really are, then you can hear the prognosis from the Spirit of God saying, you are my beloved, you are me, you are the one, you are the dynamic presence of God. You'll hear your prognosis for magnificence. Then you'll step into the topic which is to be disagreeable and to begin to agree with the higher order of being. First thing is you have to be disagreeable. You have to disagree with any vow or any choice or any decision your previous self has made up to this moment. You have to wake up every day and disagree with all the choices you've made in your life from a different version of who you are. So that you're not stepping into a vibrational agreement or a choice that the 16-year-old made, that the 18-year-old made. They were crazy. Or your previous selves that had certain agreements about life, certain agreements about themselves, certain agreements about the world, certain agreements about each other. You have to be disagreeable. You have to wake up and disagree. In other words, all vows that you have ever taken from your previous self must be broken so that you can step into the holy now, and the being that you are in this instant can begin to forecast the good news, the gospel, the great presence, the great love, the great prosperity, the abundance, and the beauty from this version of yourself. And you have to become disagreeable with every choice that you made out of fear. Your divine nature is suppressed every time you decide from fear. I'll say it again. Your divine nature is suppressed every time you make a decision out of fear and then back it up with action. You understand what I'm saying? How many times have you found yourself in fear and then you said something and then you did something? At that moment, you were unconsciously suppressing your divine nature. You've got to be disagreeable in terms of no longer agreeing with being in fear, doubt, and worry and making decisions from it. What you do is you set your sight on where you are unfolding. And instead of trying to get rid of the fear or make a decision from fear, you walk in the direction of excellence. And you'll notice that the fear is transmuted into excitement. And the excitement is then transmuted into enthusiasm. Because everything is energy. Everything is energy. What is your focus? What is your resolve? What is your perception? You start off being disagreeable to previously held decisions. You start out being disagreeable to any choices that you've made in fear, and then you come to an agreement. You agree that you are going beyond what you presently know. We have to do that every single day. We have to say in substance, as was mentioned in the meditation service, that what we know is infinitesimally small compared to what we don't know. So as we enter into spiritual practice for the day, we say, today I'm going beyond what I presently know. I'm opening myself up to go beyond what I presently know right here and right now. That frees me from previously held perceptions and frees me from coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms protecting my previous self. We don't want to keep seeing ourselves as a linear beings moving through time, manipulating circumstances to be happy. No. We want to see ourselves at the divine emanation of the Most High God that's unlimited, illimitable in every single way, non-linear, non-dimensional, timeless, eternal, and forever, conscious of itself. And as we let go of the thought that we know something and enter into this space of the beginner's mind that I have to go beyond what I know in this moment, there is a flexibility that starts to happen. There is an availability and a receptivity and a flexibility because we're not trying to protect the little self. We're trying to open ourselves up to what we don't know. Now we can hear what Jesus the Christ meant when he said, if you try to save your little life, you'll lose it. But if you lose your life for the sake of the Christ, for the sake of the eternal one, the holy one, the infinite, that which has no birth and will never die. If you lose your life for the sake of excellence, you'll be in the eternal moment, time after time after time, transcending time into the now of this moment. Somebody look to your neighbor and say, I'm listening to this. And I'm going to live it. So we're becoming agreeable to the absolute truth that we're stepping into an awareness of going beyond what we know, so we're not protecting our present self, and we're becoming agreeable that everything can change. Everything will change. What does that mean? Do you realize people are walking in race consciousness, collective beliefs? They're walking in a field of looking at the relics of the past. That's called the circumstances that we're moving through in terms of the human condition. It's called a relic. It's called an antique. It's called the past because it was previously somebody's thought and somebody's idea and somebody's perception that then downloaded itself as experience and then downloaded itself as collective agreement and then downloaded itself as collective experience, downloaded itself into the thought of business as usual. That's the way it was. That's the way it's always going to be. You have to disagree with that, and you have to agree that everything and anything can change. You have to wake up every single day and say everything and anything can change. Everything and anything will change. You have to hold that. You have to become in agreement with that so you're not falling prey to the collective belief about how bad everything is. You're waking up to an awareness that everything is changing, and it's changing because I'm seeing it that way. And based on the collective in a community, observer effect of everything changes on a subatomic level because I'm watching it. As I'm saying everything is changing, and I'm looking for the glow. I'm looking for the beauty. I'm looking for the joy. I'm looking for the harmony. I'm looking for the abundance. I'm looking for it. Everything that has manifested will begin to change based on my observation and on my intentionality. Do not allow yourself to be victimized by the past masquerading itself as the present moment. No. That which is real is the eternal face of the divine. That which is real is a world that is so beautiful and so lovely and so magnificent, but you can't experience it unless you begin to see it, unless you begin to call it forth, unless you begin to act from it. It's here now. You have to see it. Therefore, as limitless and as vast as the presence of God is, it means nothing to you until it becomes a personal revelation, until it becomes the activity of your awareness. You can believe that God is vast. You can believe that the presence of God is everywhere. You can believe that the presence of God is magnificent beauty and order and harmony and abundance. All that is a wonderful belief system. It's filed under the category of BS, belief system. But as vast and as limitless as the presence is, until it becomes a personal revelation, it's theory. And so you have to be disagreeable with every choice the previous self has made every single day. You have to be disagreeable to the degree that you've made any decisions based on fear. You have to break that agreement with that fear-based thought. You have to agree that you're just getting started and that today you're going to learn something new. You're going to be open to something new in your life. You have to absolutely agree that everything can change. Therefore, how will you look at each other from week to week? You won't hold the same perception you had last week. You every day you look in the mirror and you talk to yourself about how new you are today, how bright and magnificent, and all the stuff that you used to carry when you were 3 and when you were 10 and when you were 16, and all those perceptions, they can go by the wayside. You can begin, everything is changing. I'm seeing myself new, the way that God sees me, that says in substance, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, thought of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. I've got a prognosis of magnificence for your life. And then you look at the world the same way. You got to. Listen, somebody's got to. If we don't do it, it ain't going to happen. Because the media is going to give you the lowest common denominator of the human experience every single day, and they're going to put music behind it, and they're going to train you to the fear so that you can be controlled and non-creative, and you'll end up seeing a world that is so nasty and so vile and so low, you'll actually think it's real, it's eternal, and it's intractable, and it will never change. That is a lie and the father of lies. It is a lie and the father of lies. No. Emanations of God that are activating their intelligence and their love quotient begin to see a different world. and they begin to speak from that world. They begin to act from that world, and then that world becomes visible. It becomes visible in small groups that are magnifying the Lord in a mighty way. And then those groups cohere and become larger groups, and then you begin to understand what Buckminster Fuller meant when he talked about the fact that it's not about destroying the old, it's about building the new so strong that the old just disintegrates, that everyone falls into the new frequency and to the new vibration. So you want to step into being pioneers of the possible, vibrationally. So that 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 5 by 5, you're stepping into a frequency that develops such coherence around the possible. You are living in the realm of ever-expanding good, the kingdom of God, which is at hand now, by the way, kingdom of heaven, which is at hand, by the way, you're living in it. And since it has a higher frequency, everything starts to vibrate at that level. So when you're bombarded with the lowest common denominator of the human experience, that's the Spirit tapping you on the shoulder saying it's time to pray. It's the Spirit tapping you on the shoulder and saying it's time to see through this. It's the Spirit tapping you on the shoulder and say, God is here. Somebody's got to see it. Somebody's got to call it forward. Somebody's got to be an artist of the soul. Somebody's got to be a composer of reality. Somebody's got to be an architect of the real. Somebody's got to be a choreographer of the divine dance of the Holy One. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to be it. It might as well be you. It might as well be me. It might as well be us. We standing strong with a prognosis from God of magnificence. A feeling tone of the Spirit that can heal anything if you want it to. Mentally, emotionally. Now, it doesn't deny the fact that many people are walking the streets that are functionally insane. Some even holding high offices in the land. We don't deny that there's some functional insanity around. And some of it's hiding as a strong intellect. But understand this. If an individual hasn't embraced their enlightened self, their awakened self, they're insane. They're not sane. Sanity and enlightenment mean the same thing. It means you've come to an understanding that your life is the life of the divine, and you're beginning to wake up to it, and you're disagreeing and disavowing the world that is being portrayed in the media, and you're beginning to hear the signal and see the signs that are following your advanced consciousness that the realm of heaven is right here and right now, and you're walking in that vibration. You're becoming sane. Everyone else maybe think you're going crazy. You know, oh, she's weird, boy. I remember she used to hang out at happy hour with us all the time. What happened? She's happy all the time now. She doesn't need just an hour. Her happiness can't be contained in an hour. She's hanging out in the presence of God. What happened? She woke up. He woke up. The non-conforming woke up. Take a breath here. Take another breath. Release. One more. Suspend it right there. Just suspend that breath. Just right there. And feel yourself disagreeing with every decision you made out of fear. Feel yourself disagreeing right now with any decisions that were made when you were less mature. And agree now. Release. And come into a state of agreement that what you know right now is wonderful and beautiful, but it's infinitesimally small compared to what you don't know. So you're open. So by the end of every day, you're available to more rich insights about reality. Agree with me right now that anything that seems intractable can change and will change. You have to consciously do this, you see. This is part of the spiritual work. You can't just believe what I'm saying. You have to consciously wake up and do this. So that which bothers you most in life, you have to say, this will change. I'm going to change or it's going to change, but nothing staying the same. You see? And then the universe catches that as law. And everything must change. Changes, you see. For the better, because your focus is on the presence. The presence of God Almighty, all beauty and all joy. Turn to your neighbor and look at that neighbor once again as you began the service today and just say, oh my God, I'm having a realization. All this good I'm seeing in you right now, all this beauty, all this potential, it's in me too. And I can't see it in you unless I embrace it in me. Let's rise together. And let's make an agreement around excellence, around prosperity, around beauty, around all things being possible with God. And let it begin with us right now. We're changing right now. And life is magnificent. That's my prognosis. Slap five, give a high five, give a hug. Now, you guys are the called out ones. It means you actually came out, and somewhere I can see the expression on your faces. Some of you are thinking about somebody you wish could hear what was just said. I just wish he could get it. I just wish he could get it. I need you to forget about that for a moment, and I need you to feel that you're at one with them right now. On the spiritual side of life, you're at one with whoever you were just thinking about. And as you're being lifted up, you'll understand the quantum statement ascribed to Jesus the Christ. As I am lifted up, I draw all unto me. You're standing in proxy for that being right now. So though they didn't hear it through their physical ears, because you're one with them, they're hearing it now through you, spiritually. They're going to think it's their idea. And you're not going to give in to the fact, you're not going to say, oh, well, you know, I was standing in proxy for you, and the reason why you're having this idea and beginning to think along these lines is because the whole community was praying for you. No, you're just going to smile and say, really? That's good. I'm glad for you. You're not going to take credit for it. You're going to give all credit to the presence of God. And so you just think about that being or a few beings that you wish could hear what you're hearing with your inner ear. And we're going to turn within in this moment. And we're going to collectively come to a high state of gratitude and thanksgiving and appreciation for our life. We're grateful that our life, which is a gift from the divine. Now, just a side note, when you begin to understand that your life is a gift from the divine, you release any sense of egoic entitlement to anything. Egoic entitlement. You have it all. What you gonna do with it? And so with our life being a gift, and we're so grateful for this gift. We're so thankful and appreciative of this gift. It creates a deep level of humility. As I've spoken recently, gratitude and humility is what is necessary to transcend the ego, which is a compilation of unexamined perceptions at their base are lies, separation, scarcity. We step into gratitude now. We begin to recognize the presence of God everywhere. We feel it in our bones. And standing in proxy with the beings that we wish were here today. And very importantly, embracing the power, the presence, and the love of God, which is our very life and being. Recognizing this presence and feeling at one with this presence, all agreements with mediocrity are now broken. Say it. I break all agreements with mediocrity. I break all agreements with fear. I break all agreements with worry and doubt. scarcity and lack. I am fulfilled by the Spirit. As we are now disagreeable where separation is concerned, we agree that we're just beginning our walk. Whether we're veterans on the path or whether we just heard about the truth recently, we're just beginning. We're just beginning. And we're beginning to understand that anything that is not in tune with the fundamental harmony of the universe will change. It's our platform this morning. And so from this vibratory frequency of oneness, the dynamic word of God is spoken. It's always being rebroadcast from the mind of God. It's being rebroadcast right here and right now to the word that's being spoken for each of us and for all of us. That our life is free. We're spiritually liberated. That every organ, action, function of the body temple is made whole. The mental body is clear. The emotional body is pure. The body of our affairs reflect elegance. Say it, elegance. 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 Oh, spiritual elegance is, oh my God, the elegance of the universe. The beauty of the universe, the harmony of the universe is our harmony, for the universe is in us. Why don't we just claim it? We've named it. We've seen its nature. Let's claim it as the activity of our awareness. Oh, feel it in your bones right now. Feel it in your bones. 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 Everything is changing and now aligning itself with a divine pattern held within the mind of God. A divine and perfect spiritual blueprint, an idea. The master architect that said, let there be light, and named it all good. We're now coming into coherence with that vibration right now. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. I feel it. I feel it. I announce it. I broadcast it. I speak it into expression. Come! Now, it's here. Oh, feel this for just a moment. Feel this.
My destiny has been fulfilled by you. Fulfilled by you, oh God. My search is over, and I rest in thee. They make no difference. Past lives, they make no difference. Future lives, they don't concern me. This moment in God is eternal. My life in God is eternal, and I am free forevermore. My search is over, hey, and I rest in thee.
Resting in the power and the presence and the love of God. Take the hand of the being right next to you, that sweet being that has been ordained by the presence of God for excellence, with the mark of success on their brow and on your brow as well. We hold this sweet space of prayer.